2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
Is our relationship forever tainted because of betrayal?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Hey, I wanted to bring something up.
You always scare me when you do this.
No, you'll like this one.
Okay.
So, tomorrow is our mom's 70th birthday, and she likes to fly under the radar a little bit, but I'm not going to let her right now. So, I just wanted to talk about her a little bit. So, we are the people that we are because of her. And I just want to tell her happy birthday and how much I love her. And a couple things about her, and you can say whatever you want to say too, Tyler. But I was thinking about her this morning, and she's played an amazing second fiddle in life, but all along she hasn't been second fiddle. She's been so important. And one thing about our mom is she has grit. She is tough as nails. I remember when she slipped and fell when she was helping us with our paper route and broke her leg, broke the bone badly. And she recovered quickly. She got back at it. She'd go mow lawns with us and teach us how to work. But not only does she have grit, she also has a ton of love, and she's an amazing person. And I just want to mention her and tell her happy birthday. 70 years. It's awesome. So anything you want to add, Tyler?
70 is a big deal, Mom. We do really love you. Probably don't tell you enough. As funny, Brannon, as you were talking, I was thinking about when we used to mow lawns as young, teenagers, when we were very first getting started, the way that we got our first jobs was Mom and Dad went around to all of their friends and asked them if we could mow their lawns so we could learn how to do it. And I remember one day, you remember the Bailey's corner? There's that, the Bailey's had this weird.
It's intense. I drove past it yesterday,
and then it's just straight,
it's almost like the cliff.
The cliff, but you had to mow the cliff somehow. So you're kind of trying to finagle the lawnmower. I remember one day having Mom come out to help us because we were behind on our lawns, and I remember her being on the cliff, as it's the mower's kind of barely staying upright. She's on the cliff, just grinding away at it, and then the Baileys came driving home and pulled into the driveway right in front of mom. And I remember as a teenage kid, like I'm gonna get emotional thinking about this. Like,
And they had a lot of money and stuff.
yeah,
They were pretty well to do.
just thinking about like what that must have been like for mom to be at her friend's house mowing their lawn to teach her boys how to work. And man, mom, like I probably don't say it enough, but the sacrifice, not just that one time, but all of the sacrifices, going to work at the Bureau of Criminal, investigation, full-time job, and then coming home and trying to be a mom and still get us to soccer and make sure we had our stuff taken care of. Like all of that has not gone unnoticed, mom. And I just want you to know that we love you and wish you a happy birthday.
We could do a full episode, Tyler, because there's a couple more things I want to say, and we have an awesome guest today. But mom, she became a counselor, and so she was a great example to us, and maybe blazed the trail a little bit for what we do today. And she helped rough like kids, but great kids for years and years at a junior high. And she's also Tyler, I'm sure you know this, but she is our biggest fan. Like she hasn't missed an episode. Even when you're dropping swear words, she still keeps listening. She has been to more of my presentations, and some really bad presentations, and she sat through them and she's listened. Like she is our biggest fan, and we're her biggest fan. So happy birthday, mom. We love you. So
yeah.
Okay, so like I said, we got an awesome guest today. So let's transition to talking about the guest here. Philip, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here. And by the way, I was really enjoying hearing about your mom. I was actually getting choked up too, listening to your stories. I could have listened the whole hour.
So this is your second time on the show, right?
Yeah, second time.
And it was a little while ago that you were on last. So just fill us in. Where are you at now? How are things going? And what are you dealing with?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me here. So yeah, a couple of years ago, I was on the call and we talked about topic of excommunication. It was really, really a helpful topic.
Mm-hmm.
I've since landed in a different congregation and I'm growing spiritually, and that was a really good move for me. And another big thing that I learned from that session and the time after was, the need for forgiveness and letting go of the pain that I experienced there. And I was able to. And also being able to really, as time went on, just to, really be able to view that whole process in a different light and have grace for the people who were involved and just respect for what they did. So all that happened. It was all really good. And I re-listened to that episode a couple weeks ago, and it was good to walk down that lane and see how I had grown.
Philip, before you jump into the new stuff, I just want to say, I remember that discussion when we had it, and if people could have heard your voice or even seen your body language is so much softer this time around than it was last time. It seems like there's been a lot of letting go and a lot of surrender since the last time we visited.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, for sure. A lot of growth. And so I am still married. I have, my kids are 16 and 13. And I moved back into the house about 4 months after discovery. And it has since been a very long, slow, painful path in my marriage. So there have been moments of great spiritual insight on the part of my wife, where she has, she had dreams, she's had visions, she's, sensed God speaking to her and what she needs to do, and that was really heavy around like the December, January timeframe that we just passed. And so it's been a lot slower lately, right? And the spiritual, Holy Spirit showing up and shining light and doing incredible things. It's been kind of slow in that space of late. And so, but we're still together. We're still doing life. It feels more like roommates than husband and wife. Um, and I guess, if you were an onlooker and looked at us, it looks pretty normal. I sleep in the same bedroom as my wife, and that was just, that was something that I just kind of said, this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm not going to sleep in the basement anymore. And she was like, okay, um, and so, but when I say things look normal, like we take vacations together. So we took a vacation last year together. We went to France and the Netherlands, and then most recently, a few weeks. I live in the Northeast, and we took a weekend trip over Memorial Day weekend up into the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So that took us on a road trip through Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, into New Hampshire, and then on the way home, we went down the main coast, and so got to see a lot of New England. And before kids, we had done a lot of similar things, and as the trip unfolded, I remembered a lot of really good memories of things that we had done together before we had kids, when we had gone camping, or a restaurant that we had gone to, or a place that we visited. And I mentioned those as we were driving around. I mentioned those things that we had seen, and remember that. And then so I work with a therapist, and we both see the same guy who's my therapist. And one of the things that I've been trying to do at my wife's request is she wants me to woo her, right? So we've been married for 23 years. Discovery was at about 21 years. And so she has said, yeah, I want to be wooed. Her term was seduced, but kind of dug into that word a little bit and figured out what she really meant, because sexual intimacy is not part of the picture. And so it meant to be wooed. And so I've written several, like cards to her, and little note cards, and get her flowers, and put the note card by the flower, and bought her some jewelry. She's not really into jewelry. So just trying to figure out what it is that she likes and wants is really, really difficult. And if I ask her, she's like, well, you need to figure that out. So I sent her a note very recently, and I invoked a memory of the night that we got engaged. And it's a nice note. I left it by the flowers that I had picked some peonies out of the garden, and never got any acknowledgement, And so in one of our weekly conversations, after our trip and after this note, I said, how did that note sit with you? When I recollected the night we got engaged, and she just started talking about how all of that memory, the memories of the things that came up when we were traveling on Memorial Day weekend, all of that just serves to trigger her big time, right? Because she's thinking, well, what were you doing when we weren't sitting in that restaurant? What were you doing after you dropped me off the night we got engaged? And so these are all things that just really, she can't even look at pictures, right? We got photos of our kids, and she doesn't even want to look at them. So we've got, 20, 21 years of marriage and memories, that are 21 years worth of triggers for her. And I'm kind of at a loss for, like, what to do with that, and what can I do? How can I show up to make that better? And I don't know if I can, but that's kind of my question. I don't really know what to do with her being triggered at our entire life together. Not only the good stuff and the bad.
It's a great question, Philip. I just want to make sure I restate it back to you so that me and our listeners are all on the same page with what I think you just said. In essence, you have a massive history together, and in that history, you still have some fond memories of that history. And every time you bring up those memories, it reminds her of the double life you were living, and it actually causes her a lot of pain, even though you're wanting to share those things for connection with her. And now you're wondering, how do I help facilitate really the grieving process over the loss of hopes, dreams, woulda, shoulda, coulda's, all that other stuff, and allow us to just accept the lives that we have had together and then move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have a lot to say. I don't want to jump to the chase here. Well, I want to back up. And when she says she wants you to woo her, she wants you to, basically kind of win her heart, right? Like, and it sounds like you've interpreted that as, go out of your way to be romantic, kind of like notes, flowers, things like that. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And then those type of things create triggers for her, right?
If I invoke a memory, yeah.
Yeah. So the when we talk about connecting to her heart, I think a lot of times, as men, we miss this. Like, what does that actually mean? Does it just mean flowers and notes?
No, it's got to mean so much more than that.
It means a lot more than that. What she's saying to you, Philip, is I want to be seen. I want to be accepted. I want to be understood right where I'm at. And so if right where she's at is in pain because she's grieving, then your biggest opportunity to woo her is in that pain. Feels backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that you gave her that note wasn't when you were actually stepping up for her, but that moment when she came to you and said, that just triggers me, there's your opportunity. But if her trigger triggers you and you go into like defensive mode or shame screen or disconnect, then what that shows is that you gave that note and that it was flowers for you, not for her. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful, painful, difficult thing with betrayal is the opportunity for reconnection comes through holding space for the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like really confusing for the betrayed partner because they're like, oh, I like that they'll hold space for me, but at the same time, I don't want to get too close to them because they could hurt me. But if the betrayer can actually hold that space, it really helps to heal the relationship. All right. So what are you thinking about what I'm saying?
So when you said that, the card, the flowers, all that stuff was actually for me, not for her. I don't disagree with you, but what's really bizarre is the amount of time and energy and kicking and screaming to actually do that, right? It's like, how could that possibly have been for me? That was such a selfless, like doing something I absolutely abhorred doing, had no desire to do it, nothing that it feels contrived, these things that I do. I am trying to fan the flame in hopes that a spark, the embers will grow, right? The fire will grow. Um, and so, but you know, yeah, it's self-serving, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Philip. You, you see
Because
it.
because I'm doing it because I want something, right?
Yeah. Is that love? Like that, you know?
I guess not.
Right.
I thought it was.
Yeah. If I go mow the lawn, if I go do everything around the house, and it's like all this good stuff, and my wife can feel for me just a little bit like I'm doing it because I want her to be like, good job, good boy.
Mm,
And I didn't do that because I just want to do that because I just, out of the goodness of my heart, I did that because I wanted a payout.
mhm,
Was it fun to mow the lawn? No. Was it fun to, it was a sacrifice. It was hard, and I was still serving me,
mhm.
right? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Here's another way maybe to look at this, and I'm going to share this from like a very personal place with my own journey, Philip. If you would have asked me early on in my marriage if I loved my wife, I would have gone to the grave saying, yes, I love her. And then the betrayal happened, and she'd say things like, you don't love me. And I'd say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I think I honestly did love her in a certain way, but the love was, as Brannon was saying, it was coming from a self-serving place of not wanting to lose her, and everything I did was to not lose her rather than actually really loving her. And I remember it dawned on me one day that I wasn't actually loving her. And I had all my dailies lined out. I'm in recovery. I'm sober for years now. And it hit me, and I'm like, I'm still not loving her. And I was introduced to a concept called battling for her heart on a daily basis. And the first place I went to was everything you're doing, which I actually believe is part of the battle, the romantic stuff, like
Mhm,
get her flowers, write her notes, do the memory thing. Like all of that stuff is good stuff. Like you're not doing bad stuff with
mhm,
that. But the energy with which I do it might not be serving me or her. And the battle for her heart includes so much more than that. The battle for her heart includes coming home and she's had a rough day, and you sit with her and listen to her and hear it and hold it for a minute without going into your shame. The battle for her heart does include looking around at the things that she typically does and trying to lighten the load a little bit, or being a little bit foresight with like, sounds so stupid, but she'd start to say things like, man, one day I'd love to be able to do this thing, or one day I'd love to take care of this thing. And I would go, after she said it, I'd go put it in my phone in the notes under her name. And then I would go to work on trying to make sure I helped facilitate that getting done before she had to come back around to it.
mhm,
And I remember she slipped one day, and I did one of those things, and I was doing it because I wanted to learn how to love her, to actually really giving love her instead of taking love her. And I was doing a couple of those things. She walked in the door, and it was something that was not romantic at all. It was like some household chores or something, and I heard her under her breath go like, "Oh my gosh, he is so hot right now." And I'm like, what? like what? What just happened here? Because in my head, I was doing anything but that. There was no romance. There was no.
It was just the jeans you were wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But it was like, and then that started to click. Like, oh, my wife is a different beast than I am. And the more I dive into really wanting to understand her, know her, love her, and the less I put pressure on getting something back, the more space there is for some of that healing to take place. It sounds kind of weird. It's like a paradox.
mhm,
We had a therapist in group one day. He had a guy come in into group, and he was like all frustrated. And he was like, guys, I've been doing this thing for like battling for my wife's heart. He's like, I've done the dishes for 39 straight days, and she hasn't said anything, and we haven't had sex.
mhm,
And my therapist sat there for a second. He kind of like chuckled, and he's like, so what's the problem? He's like, she doesn't notice me. She doesn't see how bad I'm battling for her heart. Like, da, da, da. He's like, do you know what the problem is to me? Is that you've counted 39 days. He's like, why do you have to keep the count? Right? He's like, why are you doing it? What is your reason for why you're doing it? And that part really, really matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just think of like everything Tyler just said. Like there's like icky flowers. It's like, oh, good, you gave me flowers. That like, ugh, I hate that. I'm thinking of a client years ago who planned a whole trip for his wife, and like there was all these little things that he planned, and this and that, and all really cool stuff, like very thoughtful. But at the end of it, there was this, and so like, tell me how awesome I am as a husband. Give me sex, smile at me, tell me I'm amazing because look at all the things I'm doing. So guess how much she enjoyed those things.
Zero.
I mean,
Pressure.
every little thing was like, ugh, ugh, again, ugh. So you know, so it's really cool, Philip, for you.
Yeah.
Just the little bit that you've told us today, just a little bit. Your wife, there's actually tons of opportunity and space for you to connect to her. Do you see that?
No, I don't at all.
I'm not in the intricacies of everything, but
Yeah.
Tyler and I have worked with a lot of couples who get to a place of apathy, a place of hatred, a place of total disconnect. And just a little bit of what you said today. One, she's going on trips with you, road trips. So you're in the car, stuck together. She's willing to get in that car with you. She has you in the bedroom. You're making that decision, but you both are in the bedroom together. She's opening up to you about how it's triggering when you bring up the engagement story. She's opening up. So all of these little signs show me that your wife is actually wanting to connect, maybe not like totally vulnerable and ready to, but there's a lot of hope here still. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Thank you for opening my eyes to that.
I hear a ton of that opportunity too. And I think the challenge is what I don't want you to hear is I got to stop doing the flower thing. I got to stop doing the note thing. I don't think you should stop it. I think that you see it as a step in the overall process, and then know that when you go and take her on this trip and you give her this like anniversary kind of thing, and it does come up and it is triggering for her, that you don't go into shame, you don't disappear, you don't agree with her that you should never do that again. You step into going, I can see it's like you remember the movie Inside Out?
Yeah.
When she's dragging sadness by by the foot, and sadness is reaching out her arm and touching like every core member, like ding 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 ding, and then finally Joy sees it and she throws this panic like, "What are you doing? You're ruining all the memories." Da, 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 da. When in reality, sadness had to do all of that as part of the process. We have a family picture on our wall, one wall with all of our family pictures. We have one for almost every year of marriage. We've only missed like 2 years. And I remember right after like D-Day happened with us, my wife took all the pictures off the walls. She didn't want to see anything. She didn't want to touch anything. I'm surprised she didn't burn them. Right. But then slowly, as we started to get into our work, she put them back on the wall. And there was like 3 or 4 years worth that she just couldn't tolerate because it just brought back all that same stuff. Like that's when he was lying to me here, and that's when that's when he's being a hypocrite there, and that's when, and then in the process of her recovery, then she got to where she's like, I want that to be on the wall because it reminds us of the whole journey we've had together. And now it's gotten to a place where we can even look back at those same images, and there is that little tint of sadness to the memory, but there's also, and man, those were some really good times. Like, remember this, remember that. And we've come full circle to where there is still a little bit of that sadness there, but there's also the remembrance of the good stuff that came with it. And it took really a full cycle of the grieving process to get there. So part of how you might be battling for her heart right now is helping to step into facilitating the grieving process. And that's what Brannon's saying is when she comes to you, she's like, that was so triggering. Most people hear the word trigger and they're like, that's bad. And you're like, no, that's not bad. Like, thanks for sharing. I get it. Of course it's triggering. Like, let's go there for a minute. Like, we don't have to run from it. It's okay for you to feel whatever, sadness, anger, devastation, whatever. I'm here with you. And I still remember that fondly too. Both are true. Right. That's how you're gonna offer that connection that Brannon's talking about.
Yesterday, I was working in the garden, and my kids are getting ready to go out to see. So we lived in the Midwest for about 4 years, and then we moved back to the East Coast. And so my kids got to know their cousins pretty well when we lived there, and so they're gonna fly out to see their cousins. And by the way, I'm just kind of like not interacting with my family very much at all right now. Part of because of a brother-in-law, but my kids are going to go stay at this brother-in-law's house with whom my wife has a really big beef. And so the brother-in-law also knows a lot about my story because I don't know how he found out, but he found out and is really disgusted by me. And so my wife came to me in the garden yesterday and fearful that as she thinks about our kids going out there, that brother-in-law is telling his kids, or brother-in-law is telling somebody else, because brother-in-law does talk a lot. Brother-in-law is telling somebody, somebody's telling the cousins. Cousins are talking to my kids. What about your dad? So this fear, right? Like, oh my God, what's going to happen if this happens? And I'm like, okay, yeah, that would really suck. But I'm not going to live in fear. If he does that, if he did that, if that happens, that's out of my control. It's something that I have to just let go. And I said, is there something that you're wanting me to do here? Is that you want me to call my sister and ask her something? And she said something about, calling her up and anyways, calling her up and asking her if Paul's talked to someone. I just, whatever, right? I can't even begin to imagine what that conversation would look like. But I was really frustrated by the fear and, that like, I mean, what would be the downside? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if people find out about my past, they find out about my past. I'm accepting that as an outcome of how I lived.
Philip, why are you frustrated by her fear?
Because it is fear-based.
Okay.
And
so why does that frustrate you?
Because she allows fear to drive her emotions and her second guessing the fact that we're sending them out there and taking blame for all. I was the one who said last summer they're never going to go again, and then this year it was actually my idea, right, that they go. And I said, okay, yeah, they can go. I want them to spend time with their cousins, thinking it was a softening, right? So that kind of stuff, that's what frustrates me.
So, okay, Philip, I saw this meme yesterday and it was this woman and it said, I was feeling anxiety, but then I don't anymore because my husband told me it's not that big a deal. So like if she's feeling fear and you're like, oh, why are you spinning in fear? And it's this emotional response. And would you please, like in your energy, even if like, would you please stop? What's that going to do?
Yeah, it didn't help at all.
Yeah,
right?
It's going to amplify it all.
Exactly.
Right?
And so I'm thinking, this is a real opportunity to give space. And oh my God, it's like to recognize that in the moment when that kind of reaction, like she's inside cooking, I'm outside working in the garden. She's in there dreaming up. This is what's going on in my head. She's in there dreaming up things to be fearful about. Right.
Do you hear how crazy you make her sound?
Mm-hmm.
So when she feels that from you in that moment that she has fear, it's like, well, I got a husband that doesn't have my back. Now here's the trick. You don't have to agree with her to validate her. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you're strong enough within yourself, you can stay true to your truth and your opinion and who you are. And you can absolutely, completely hold space for her and validate her.
Yeah.
And there's a part, I think there's a part of you that's like, I just want to tell her, like, that it's not that big a deal and she should get over it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're missing the hold space part.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's to go with that, Brandon. I just want to make sure we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. There's a ton of good recovery work happening in what Philip just described.
Well, look how conscious he is of everything.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
this is
he's
an
totally
honest.
conscious, and he's also saying he was able to step in and have the conversation. He was able to say, "Hey, is there something I can do to be helpful to you?" He was able to kind of step in, and he's owning his own stop spot and saying, "I don't want people to talk about me, but if they do, that's the life I've lived. I
Yeah,
can
that's
own that." Like,
this is beautiful. We
great.
agree with you, Philip.
Yeah,
It's great.
this is phenomenal. I don't want you to get beat up too much by us without acknowledging that is amazing work you're doing. And then the next step that Brannon's talking about is like, that's why he's going after this. Why are you so frustrated? He's like, and he's kind of telling you, he's doing to you what you do to your wife about her fear.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why are you so frustrated? You should just stop being frustrated. You would suffer less. You would like be happier. Like, why don't you just let go of the frustration? Right.
When indeed, if I could let go of the frustration and give her that space and just spend that time with her, and as a demonstration of wooing her, right?
And you would still not be agreeing with her. You're not going to sign off and be like, let's go get fearful together. And, oh yeah, I'm going to hurry. But you're also going to step in and go like, oh my gosh, like I hate seeing you in pain like this. Mm-hmm. I hate that fear is such a driving factor. And I acknowledge that there's even a piece of what I've done that probably contributes to this. Mm-hmm. And man, I love you. And I would love to know how we can help you not have to live this way. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm here. Like, it's okay if you want to be fearful. Like, just acknowledging and seeing her is part of the wooing in this case.
Mm-hmm. And as I think back to those moments when we were talking about it, all I could think was, which branch am I going to clip next on the rose bush? I mean, I just wanted to get away from it. Right? They're just so, just like so.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
Philip, is your wife? Is she crazy? You gotta be careful here. Is your wife crazy?
I spin her up to be in my head.
I'll
give you that.
A very honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is she is, because she's human, and that makes me crazy and you crazy and all of us. Mm-hmm. Like, to some degree, our inner child runs the show, and we don't act rationally in our lives. Like, that happens. And when you're really close with a spouse, with a partner, you're right next to that inner child all the time, who's screaming and crying and throwing tantrums and all this stuff. And so on one hand, she is, because she's human. And on the other hand, all of the feelings that she has as a result of these triggers are absolutely valid and important. Mm. And we want to know from our partners that they can both be strong enough to not take on all of the emotions that we have, and be strong enough to hold the emotions that we have, so they are healthy unto themselves, healthy enough unto themselves that they know themselves, so they can be honest, mm-hmm. and even say things that might be hard for us to hear sometimes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, their heart is open to our pain, and they will listen to our pain. Mm-hmm. And that's when you know you have a partner with some strength, because they can do both. They know who they are. They can mm-hmm. open themselves up to me, not over attach, but hold that space with me. Right? So yeah, go ahead, Philip.
I think, in what I described yesterday's interaction, that, if I were to not hold space for her and listen, but then get fearful with her, that would not demonstrate any kind of strength, right? I mean, that would just demonstrate how I can just be bent any direction with the slightest bit of, picking.
Yeah, exactly. um, when you crumble because of their emotions,
Mm.
that's where the breakdown in safety happens,
Yeah.
right? Just yesterday, this is hard, Philip. Like my wife brought something to me that she was really emotional about that I completely don't see or don't agree with. Like, so on one hand, it's like I just want to tell her like, nope, not how it is. Get over it. Like stop causing yourself all this anguish because you're just creating your own suffering,
Mm.
right? That wouldn't be helpful for her. And what is she really needing from me, right? Like in that moment, it might be something different in any moment. And I think something that we don't acknowledge enough and really understand enough is just it's a matter of presence. It's she'll come to you at one moment and need one thing. She'll come to you at another moment and need another thing. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're not present in that moment with her, then you're just going to be guessing what she needs, or you're going to be retreating and starting to clip the roses.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like, let me stop for a minute, see where she's at, what's actually going on, and how can I actually show up for her? Like, oh, here's a flower. Maybe that's what she needs. Maybe it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's stopping and getting present and not getting triggered off into our own emotional responses and our own defense mechanisms so that we can connect to what are they actually needing in this moment. Last night when my wife was talking to me, I realized she felt disconnected and she just needed to be heard. And I didn't agree with the things I didn't agree with,
Mm-hmm.
but I absolutely held some space for her so that she could be heard. And that I think that's all she needed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I get it, Philip. I'm there with you. I understand. So,
Yeah.
So, Brannon, this principle that you're bringing up, it's easy to say it and it's a lot harder to do it because in order to be able to be present with your partner, especially when you've been the source of some of their pain, it takes an immense amount of shame resiliency to do that. And where most people go wrong is they're being told, like, show up, hold space, be present, like let your partner have their feelings, but they don't go and actually do the internal work of the shame resiliency where they can come back. And the more shame resilient you become by learning to own your story, by learning to have another team for support, by learning to add context, by learning to not take things so personally, by learning to practice these things, then when your partner's like feelings come back towards you, it's easier not to take those things personally, and then you can hold their energy instead of getting buried by your own.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the hard part. And I hear you kind of in that mix of like really developing some good shame resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you do that, the more you'll be able to step in and hold that space and keep that presence that Brannon's talking about.
Tyler, it's a catch-22 that we see all the time in that, like, a lot of times with sex addiction, the reason why somebody's acting out and seeking validation through sex is because they try to get their worth from somebody else. They try to get their okayness. They want to be desired. They want to be seen, right? And so then they go betray their partner because they're acting out sexually because they want those things. Well, they're extremely codependent with their partner because they've been trying to get their worth with their partner and haven't been getting that there. And so now they have a partner that they've been codependent to who now has betrayal and has pain. And it's like, well, I want to be seen as good. I want to be seen as okay. I want to be seen as desirable. And you're telling me that I'm the source of your pain. And what Tyler and I are saying is, yeah, and right there where she says I'm in pain, that's your opportunity to actually connect.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me more.
So it comes back to what Tyler just said of like, I've got to take a pause on this. I got to look internal, figure out my demons, do my own trauma work, so that I can show up as an interdependent partner who can now hold that space and be strong with her at the same time. So it's a catch-22 because you got to back off from the relationship a little bit so you can show up for her.
Mhm.
right?
Philip, I'm not sure we've even gotten to what your original question was. What's going through you right now?
Well, a lot. Um, Codependency is one, and I'm starting to like see how that's, it's interesting because I've thought throughout this whole thing. I was like, I do not need her, right? And if it wasn't for kids, and if it wasn't for 20 years of her being um dependent on me as a provider, that we would just be done, right? And I just I'm not going to walk away and do more harm to her, right? And so I've really dismissed the idea of codependency from this situation, and you guys have just opened it back up, right? Like it's looking like something so much more subtle. And I'm seeing it, so I'm kind of like grappling with that. um and then and yeah, the whole idea of like, so the question was, the memories, right, that are intermingled, the good memories that are intermingled with 20 years of, on again, off again, um acting out betrayal. And not, I mean, I don't know. I can't say, oh yes, on when we went to Maine in 2006, I was acting out or I was not. I don't remember, right? It was just everywhere. And I can't say with any certainty whether I was or whether I wasn't. And I told her, I was like, even if I could, is that really going to help anything here? And so the question is, can we, is there a pathway to separate those things? And I talked to her about compartmentalization and like how, yeah, and I know she hates to hear that word, but it's a reality. I compartmentalized a big piece of my life, and I said, and that's not good. That's not, obviously that's sick, and I recognize that, but that was a different piece. So I guess, the question is, and then we walked into some really good, okay, well, what does it mean to actually woo her? And but and so I guess then I can conclude that it really doesn't matter whether or not I can separate out the good from the bad in the past. I just got to go forward, and that those triggers from times that in my head are separated from the acting out and the bad stuff. They're not for her. They're just not. And so that's the pain, the place of pain where I need to meet her and hold space.
I'm hearing, I think, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I just want to speak to that idea on the memories themselves for one more second. I know we're getting short on time here. And Brannon, you might have a different opinion on this, so I'd love to hear yours too. But it's been my experience, and I've had to learn this the hard way, Philip, but it's been my experience that with past memories, I might see them differently than my wife does. And I don't always have to go and have her story be the true story of the memory. But I can meet her where she's at in her energy. And a couple of things that have been really helpful for us is I don't try to avoid the triggers of the memories anymore. I used to. I used to like walk on eggshells, like, oh, we better drive home this way so she doesn't remember that we had an anniversary at that hotel, like because that'll bring up this and this and this, and she's gonna feel in pain. Now it's like I drive that way, and if we pass the hotel and it comes up, I say, oh, yeah, I have some really fond memories there, and she's like, oh, that reminds me of this and this and this. Okay, now, what it is like Brannon said, it's an opportunity. And the best opportunity is to meet the memory in this moment exactly where it's at with
Mm-hmm.
curiosity, compassion, and patience.
Mm-hmm.
With the bigger picture in mind that really what's happening with these memories is a grieving process. And if I help facilitate the grieving process by going like, oh yeah, I can see why you're feeling angry right now, or like, we're driving somewhere, we're driving back up to Idaho, and all of a sudden we go past a certain place, and it's been 15 years since we've been there, and all of a sudden she goes, oh my gosh, Tyler, my heart's pounding and my chest is tight and I feel sick, like I want to throw up. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I was just sitting here thinking about how awesome this neighborhood was that we used to live in, and like what great memories are there. She's like, I feel sick right now. Oh, okay. Well, tell me about the sickness. Should we breathe through it? Do you want to talk about it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm here and we can meet it right there, right now. And my experience has been that over time, the grieving process will actually bring it around full circle to where the history will be true and the history of both sides of it will now be true. I was hiding, and we also made some amazing memories, and both can be true. But we try to avoid the pain, and then the anger and the sadness get stuck, and then we're running from triggers the rest of our lives instead of leaning into those as an opportunity to connect with curiosity, compassion, and patience.
Holy cow! Okay, that's really good.
So,
I just have a couple. I have a couple things for you, Philip, because we are out of time.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the kintsugi bowl?
No.
So
yes.
Yeah.
The broken bowl, glued back together.
yeah.
Yes.
So why would I bring that up with you right now?
Because I've been thinking about buying one for my wife, actually.
That's how you're going to woo her.
Yeah.
yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. And get her approval.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the goal. Like, create one with her. Not, rather than, buy one too, but create one with her. And part of it is like, when you say, well, I compartmentalized and I don't, it's kind of like, well, I want this to go away. Well, it's not going away because it happened. It's I love Paul Young, who wrote The Shack, when he shares his stories about recovery. And he cheated on his wife with her best friend. But it's now his story. It's her story too. And they're on the end of it now, where it's somewhat a beautiful story. Everything that they've been through together, of redemption and love and forgiveness and all of those things. It's a beautiful kintsugi bowl. So just consider that you can create that with her. You're not going to piece this back together and have it be exactly the way that it was. It's never going to be exactly the way that it was again. The other thing I wanted to say to you is, I don't know where you're at financially or things like that, but you would be a perfect candidate to be in my Wednesday men's group, Reclaim Your Heart. We just started it 3 weeks ago, and we do that deep trauma healing work. I'd love to have you in there. So I just want to say that to you because you would really fit well in there.
When do you meet?
We meet Wednesdays at noon Mountain Time. So I think it's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock Eastern
time.
Yeah.
For an hour and a half.
There's I just want to reiterate this to you too, Philip. Like, it's been a while since we've talked to you, and I would love for you to not be a stranger. If you get a benefit by coming on here, come back on again in the next few months, and if we can be helpful to you're on a good path that I think people would be able to witness some true growth happening across your personal recovery and potentially across your marriage. And it'd be great to take some snapshots.
Love to have your wife on too, if she's willing. So
I'd love that too.
Yeah.
All right, Philip. Well, thank you for coming and being vulnerable and just sharing another part of your story. Really appreciate you. And
appreciate you guys.
To anybody listening, if you want to leave a review and mention Philip and thank him, you can. And until next time, keep on keeping on.